Good evening and welcome if you're joining me on this Thursday evening as we come along to do a bit of crafting and a bit of playing in the lily pad this evening. So I'm hoping that the sound might be a bit better. I've just a new phone. Since I have my new phone, I've had a couple of comments that the sound hasn't been brilliant. So I have actually slipped my phone out of its case this evening to see if the microphone plugs in a bit better, whether that helps. So it'll be interesting to get feedback on whether you're hearing me better this evening. Otherwise we might have to either I'll have to have a look at a different microphone or just go without one. We'll see. But so do let me know if you're hearing me okay. And as we go along, do pop in and say hello. Do share this video out with other people. It'd be lovely to have lots of people joining us this evening, or if not live, then at a later point during the week. So I'm just playing with my laptop and waiting for us to appear, because as always it looks fine on the camera, but it's not until I actually see it come up on the laptop that it sort of shows if it's upside down. But hi Lisa. Christmas already? Yes, absolutely. Yes, let's get started for Christmas. That's yeah, you know, you're okay. You haven't been sleeping for 6 months or however long it is. It's not even that long now, is it? I think I've just seen a Facebook post that says it's something like 160 something days. But I thought before we got into some crafting, I would just share with you some of the things that I've got coming up that you might like to join me at. And one of them is Friday the 26th of July. I'm doing a stamper stack, so that's 6 cards, 3 different designs, 2 of each design, so you end up with 6 cards, and that's using the Bird Ballad Suite. So we're doing that on Friday the July the 26th, so do come and join us for that. The Christmas stamp comes in for our Saturday stampers this month. So Saturday, July the 10th, 10 till 3 is our Christmas in July, and you do get a nice little kit of products with that class, and your kit will include this stamp set. It will include the Lots of Cheer stamp set. It's a fabulous stamp set because actually it's got a whole load of potential with it. You can do some really cutesy things with it. You can do some quite traditional things. You can do some heat embossing, do some colouring in, all sorts of things that you're going to be able to do with that stamp set. So that will keep us nice and busy. So along with your stamp set, you also get other goodies as well to help you create your Christmas projects. So that's the Christmas in July, our first chance to eat a mince pie and find some and some other Christmas goodies, whilst normally with the fans on and the windows open and trying to keep ourselves cool. And then on Wednesday, July the 31st, I've got a technique class, and we're going to be creating some floating die cards. So that's 3 classes I've got going on here at home coming up, that you might want to get booked onto and come and join us. And I am very hopeful actually that my sort of nice shiny new updated website is going to be going live within the next week or so, and the real plus side to that is you're going to be able to go on there and book on classes and pay for them actually on the website. So that's going to be a fabulous advantage. So you're just going to be able to go in, click and book yourself in. So that will be looking forward to that, as well as meaning that I'm going to be able to start doing some more whizzy things with my blog and those sorts of things. So that's going to be exciting, but that's coming up in the future. For some reason my laptop doesn't want to play this evening. I've got a little red button that tells me that I'm live, but it doesn't actually want to show me us going live. So I'm just going to continue and trust that you can see me, and the fact that Lisa is chatting to me would make me assume that you can indeed see me. Right, so on Monday morning I introduced you to this Daisy Lane bundle if you hadn't already been introduced to it, and we cased the catalogue, and the sample in the catalogue that we cased is this one just here. And so there's the one in the catalogue, and there's our version that we created on Monday morning. But as always, come Thursday, I've had a bit of a play myself, so we've not only we're not going to be casing the catalogue this evening. We're going to be creating some projects of our own. But this Daisy Lane bundle is just really beautiful, and I did mean to bring my daisies in from the other room. When the large daisy was first brought out, a couple of years ago now, I think, I made a nice big bag full of daisies that still sits in the front room, and I'd intended to bring that through, but I haven't. I'll perhaps have to find a picture of it and repost it to remind you what that looked like. So it's a really lovely bundle. This Daisy Lane bundle, the new bundle that you get, is this beautiful stamp set just here with the 2 daisies in, that you can punch out, and you've got this other smaller daisy and the stem and this sort of ferny leaf just here. Some really nice sentiments. It's a lovely stamp set, and they are just so versatile, these stamps and punches, and you can create some beautiful flowers with it. So it isn't just about doing beautiful cards, which obviously you can do. It's about doing some home decor-y type things as well. And they're just so versatile. So what we're going to do this evening is we are going to do one card, and then we are going to have a bit of a play with a home decor piece. My laptop is still not wanting to play ball with us this evening. I'm hoping that's not meaning that the internet is going to be playing up, because I'm very aware that it is very warm and muggy here in central UK today, this evening, and does feel a little bit like we might be heading for a thunderstorm. Thanks for the share, Lisa, that's lovely. I've just seen that pop up on my main Facebook page. Yes, indeed, do come in and say us. And I haven't actually introduced myself this evening, I don't think. My name is Helen Jennings, and I am a Stampin' Up demonstrator based here in the UK, in the warm and muggy UK this evening. And it's lovely to have you all join me. So let's start with a card. And I thought that I would make this really quite simple, and I would have a play with some of the in colour papers. I've not done very much playing with the in colours this year, actually, as of yet, so this seemed like the perfect opportunity, and to really just show off those punches and what you can do with them. So we have got a card base here, and this is in the Seaside Spray. So this beautiful pale blue, it's a lovely colour. So that is a piece of A4 card cut in half. So this is very much UK sizes. So a piece of A4 card cut in half at 14.9 centimetres and scored down the middle at 10.5. But obviously you could tweak this and change sizes to suit cards wherever you happen to be in the world. I've then cut a little mat of Whisper White card that will sit on the top. So for us, that's the 10 centimetre by 14.4 centimetre mat. And then I've taken a bit of the Seaside Spray paper. Now these papers are the 6x6 papers. Let's dig them out the box, that come in the in colours, and you get different designs. So you've got like this script design on one side, and then this sort of almost chicken wiry on the other side, and then so that's one design of paper, and then the other is this sort of almost like argyle print, and on the back of that is this nice little ginghamy check, and you get all of those in all of the in colours. So you've got Pretty Peacock and Purple Posy, the Cocoa Rose, the Seaside Spray, and the Terracotta Tile. So obviously these packs of 6x6 papers you can get in all of the colours that we do. So you can get a brights pack, you can get a neutral pack, a subtles pack, a regals pack, and you can get the other in colours as well in one of these packs. So they're really useful. They're useful packs of paper. So I'm going to use this sort of ginghamy check side of this paper, and I've cut that so that it's a bit smaller again. So that is 13.9 by 9.5 centimetres. So we can actually stick some of these together. Let's get our snail out, and let me actually move this catalogue from underneath here, otherwise I might get glue on it and then it will be all gummy and it will stick together, and that will be a disaster. So here we go. Let's put some snail onto this beautiful piece of designer series paper, and we will layer that onto this piece of whisper white, and then I'm going to take some of this ribbon. Now this is the in colour ribbon, and this is the Pretty Peacock version. You can get this in all of the in colours. So this is the Pretty Peacock version, and what I'm going to do is I'm just going to cut myself so that it's long enough to go along the front there and wrap around the back. So let's decide where we want that to go. So around about there, let's put a bit of snail on the back to just hold that in place, and then I'll put a bit of snail on this side just to hold that down for now, because our flowers will also help to anchor it down in a minute. I'm actually just going to trim that at a bit more of an angle. So there we are, we have our pretty paper, we have our ribbon on there. So now we could stick that to the front of our card, and then I'm going to do a little bit of faux stitching round that. So I've got a journaling pen, and I quite often do faux stitching on things. I know that some people, if they're faux stitching, will get out a ruler and use a ruler to make sure that their lines are nice and straight. I always think that if I was to get out a needle and thread and to actually stitch this, there is no way that it would be straight. So actually, by being a little bit on the wonky side, it actually is far more authentic. Somebody's having fun. But it's far too warm to shut the windows this evening. So we'll enjoy their fun as well, their merriment and squealing. There we go. So a bit of faux stitching around the edge of that card to make it look like that piece of gingham paper has been stitched in place. Right, so now what we're going to do is we're going to take the punches. So we're going to take the large daisy punch and the medium daisy punch. And we're also going to need to dig about and find the leaf punch. And we're going to punch ourselves some flowers out of these papers. And I've actually picked the pattern that's got this script on it, because that seemed to be it's just quite a delicate sort of a pattern. So it's not too in your face. You have got this idea that you've got something going on, but it's not really, really bold. So what I have done there is I have punched 6 of the purple posy flowers, and 1, 2. We're going to need a different sheet of paper. Three, 4. Now these daisy punches do sometimes like to hang on to the paper a little bit, because you've got so many sort of delicate fronds going out. There's quite a lot that's able to grab onto the punch as you go to pull it out. So we have 6 of the small daisies, and we're going to need 2 big ones. This Rococo Rose is such a beautiful colour. There we go. The big punch particularly likes to hold on to the paper, not let it go. And then we're going to need some leaves, and I think we're going to probably need about 5. So 1, 2. I'm not particularly worried which way the writing is going on these leaves, because it is only a hint. There we go. Now the leaf punch is going to hang on to the paper. 4. 1 more. 5. Put that punch there. And tuck away that paper over there. Now, somewhere I should have a bone folder. I think it may be in this basket just here. Yes, it is. And I even cleaned it up a bit today. It was looking very grubby and very gluey. So I'm just going to very gently, and you do need to be gentle because otherwise you'll pull your petals off if you're not gentle. I'm going to very gently just give these flowers a little bit of a curl. And the minute you do that, they do sort of start to take on a bit more life. So this, as of yet, we've not done any stamping at all. This is just playing with paper, and obviously you could play with all sorts of patterned papers. So your punches aren't just for card. You could even have a go at, you could do foil daisies. Oh, see, there we go. I've pulled a petal off. He loves me not. But hopefully we'll be able to disguise that a little bit. So be a bit more gentle with these, because obviously you need to be even more gentle with the smaller daisy. Because the petals are even thinner and more delicate. But there we go, just a bit of a curl on there, and last but not least, a bit of a curl on this one. Okay, so let's find a tombow, and let's start at the bottom. Let's find a tombow that's going to work. Which I think is not going to be that one. Right, so we'll put a little squidge of glue in there, and then we need to lay these flowers on top of each other so that the top petals sort of sit in the middle of the bottom petals to give a sort of much fuller flower. And obviously you can build these flowers up as much or as little as you like. The glue is very warm because it is very warm, so it's tending to be a little bit squidgy. So there we are. There's a big outside of pink petals and an inner of purple posy, and then we're going to do 2 that are just double layers of the purple posy. And we'll find our flower that's had a petal missing, and we'll make sure that the missing petal is on the bottom. And then we'll be able to disguise that when we come to put our flower together. Okay, so there we are. We have three little flowers. I obviously curled that one round the wrong way. And let's just gently ease it the other way. There we go. Right, so now we will take some, we could take dimensionals, we could take glue dots. I think we'll have a dimensional underneath the big one. Just pop one underneath there. And we will rest that about there. And then I think these ones will glue in place. So we'll have one sitting here. And then this one with its missing petal, we'll have that missing petal tucked underneath there, so nobody would ever know that it was there. And then we've just got our leaves. I'm just going to put a little bit of glue on the end. I'm not worried that the outer bit is sticking up a bit. That sort of gives it a bit of dimension. So another one coming in here. One coming out there. Oh, I've just looked up to see a spider dangling from my lamp. But it's okay, it's only a little one. I'm not going to be running for the hills, we're all right. And let's have one coming under there. So there's our little leaves in place. Now we just need to stamp our greeting, and the greetings in this stamp set, this big font is just beautiful. We've got a big smile there, and we've got this one that says friend. I've got a couple of things. The best moments in my life happen with you, and it's your time to shine. But we're going to have the one that says friend, and I think in a moment of organisation, I've already put it onto a block. Here we go. So let's ink this up. They really are having fun out there, aren't they? And let's stamp that on there in Rococo Rose. And then I'm just going to cut that . I don't know what they're playing, but I want to go and join in. Right, and then we'll make this into a little banner. I could have grabbed my banner punch, but for now we'll just do it by hand, cutting up the centre and then snipping from each end to make our little friend banner. And we will take our pen again and put a bit of faux stitching round the edge of that. And then take a little bit more of the Rococo Rose paper. That's going to be going the wrong way. Let's put some snail on the back of that. And stick that onto there to give us a bit of a pink border. And shut that up for a second so I don't rest in it. And then let's snip round here. And then using our bone folder again, we'll give this a bit of a curl as well. And we will stick some glue on that end and that end. And I think we'll put a dimensional in the middle just to give that middle bit a little bit of height. And we'll come tuck that under there, press down on our glue, press down on our glue, and then we've got our dimensional in the middle that just raises it up a little bit. And then we just want some pretties. So what pretties have we got? Here I have some of the clear faceted gems. So we'll pop some of those in the middle of our daisies to give them some sparkle. And then the other thing I've got here is the in colour faceted dots. So we'll just add a few of those. Let me find my tool, my pickup tool with my pokey end. And what colours shall we have? So we'll stick with some Rococo Rose, and we'll just put a few of those round and about on our card. So that is a really quite simple, just punched out paper with just that stamped greeting, but it really sort of highlights how beautiful that those punches are, and the flowers that you can create with them, and it also highlights how beautiful the in colours are and how we can play with those too. So that's a nice little simple friend card using those in colours, as I say, and using those punches. But now we're going to have a bit of a play. Hi Max, and hopefully catch up with you soon. Hi Karen, just catching up on comments. Right, so that's our card that we created, so our little friend card using our in colour papers. Now we're going to have a go at something a little bit different. So hopefully I've been quite organised, because there's quite a lot in this next project, so there is quite a little bit of it that I've already done. So what we're going to do now is we're going to create a little sort of plaque, home decor plaque, with some of these beautiful flowers that I've created out of the punch and the stamp. So there is stamping on these, and sort of a nice background using the stitched labels, the layering stitch labels, and again using some of these punches and things. And we've got a little butterfly in there as well. So a really pretty little plaque, and the greeting on the sentiment on that says, "All days are beautiful that begin with you." So it'd be a lovely little gift to give to a friend or a member of the family or something for a birthday, or just because you are so special. So let's have a little look at what I did to create that little plaque. So here's a piece of card. So this is the sort of card that you get when you get your designer series papers and foils and those sorts of things. You quite often will get this packaging card in with it, and I always save it. So this is a piece of that card. Now some of it is thicker than others. This is a slightly thinner version. But what I found was that I could die cut this card very easily with our stitched dies. So there we go. There is a piece that has been die cut using the stitched layering labels. And all I've done with that is I've taken some gesso, and I've just painted it with gesso. Now what gesso does is it gives it a base on which you can then stamp or add different paints and things. It just sort of stops all your paint and all those sorts of things soaking into your card. It gives you a base. If you haven't got any gesso, you could use just basic white emulsion. Put some of that on it. That would certainly help. So here we have our stitch label that we have put some gesso on. I'm going to put that to one side. The next thing that I did was I took the crackle paint stamp. Here we are. I'm just going to lay that on my mat, and crumb cake ink. I think I'm going to turn it round this way, and I'm just going to put some ink on that crackle stamp. I'm going to take my gessoed label. Just look a bit sort of, it's got a bit of gesso and things on the back, but that's okay because we're going to cover that up towards the end. So if we lift that now, you have what looks like cracked paint. It looks like weathered board. So you've got a nice cracked image on that on your label now. So you've got that forms a nice base on which to build everything else up. I'm going to give that a bit of a wipe with my Simply Chamois, and we'll pop that away. And we'll pop Crumb Cake away. Then I'm going to dig out my gorgeous grape ink pad. And here I have got, so this stamp, so the greeting that we put on there, this All Days Are Beautiful that begins with you, comes from the Floral Essence stamp set. So that's that stamp set that has all these beautiful flowers in. They're really gorgeous, but that, I just thought that was a really nice little saying for a project like this. I am going to put a mat underneath it. This is where you hope that it stamps beautifully. The one earlier did. Let's hope this one is going to be equally fabulous. Brilliant stuff. So let's give that stamp a bit of a clean. And that will want to go back in there. Now, while I have got my ink pad open, I also have a sponge dauber that says Gorgeous Grape, because I have all my sponge. I have a sponge dauber for each colour that each colour ink that I have, and I'm just going to take my Gorgeous Grape ink and I'm just going to sponge round the edge. And that sort of frames that quite nicely. There we go. So I'll shut that up for a moment, and I'm going to show you that here's a flower that I made earlier, because we obviously are going to need to make, we've got 3 flowers on here altogether. We've got 2 that are made the same way but just different colourways, and then we've got one that's slightly different. So I've already created one of the flowers, and this flower was created from 4 large daisies, 4 medium daisies and 2 scalloped circles. So 2 of the 1 1/8 scalloped circles. And then we used a 1/2 inch circle punch to punch out that centre bit. So of these 4 big daisies, 2 of them are just stamped directly from card, and 2 of them are stamped and punched. And the same with the medium size, 2 are just stamped from card and 2 are just punched from card and 2 are stamped and punched. And then these are just punched and snipped. So that is one finished flower, but I'm actually now going to show you how I did that with this second colourway of flower just here. So the flowers that I needed just punch, I've gone ahead and done that. So I've already got 2 large Highland Heather daisies that I've punched out there, and I've got 2 medium Purple Posy daisies that I've punched out just there. So that's those ones already punched, all ready to go. And the other thing that I've also punched is I've also punched the scalloped circles. So we've got those as well. So those are ready to start creating our flower, but we need some more. We actually need to bring in our big daisy stamp, and we need to bring in the medium daisy stamp in order to create our stamped and punched flowers. So Highland Heather ink, and we're going to do both of these in Highland Heather ink. Obviously the Purple Posy ink is the ink that it's had some problems. When they went to release it, of course, you know, inks are made up of chemicals. There was some strange chemical reactions going on with the Purple Posy ink that meant that it wasn't performing properly. So rather than putting out a defective product, they withdrew it until such a time as they can get it right. So we haven't yet got a Purple Posy ink, but we have got the beautiful Purple Posy card and obviously the paper like we were using just now. So let's stamp 2 large daisies in Highland Heather ink on Highland Heather card. Give that a bit of a clean. And then we're going to stamp 2 medium daisies, again using the Highland Heather ink, but this time on Purple Posy card. Again, give that a bit of a clean. And then we'll punch those out. I hope you're enjoying the entertainment in the background. They do sound like they're having an absolute ball. Oh, sorry, wobbling. I'm not sure what they're doing, but it does sound like a great deal of fun. That's better. Now I can line that up a little better. So that's 2 stamped and punched large Highland Heather daisies, and I wonder if the fact that they've called this the medium daisy punch is hinting that at some point in the future we're going to get a small one. What do you think? So there's 2 stamped and punched small medium daisy punches. Now we are also going to need some 2 just punched blushing bride daisies, but we're also going to need a couple of stamped and punched blushing bride daisies. So let's do that while we have our stamps and things out, and then we can pop those things away and give ourselves a bit more room. One. Two. Then we're just going to need to again use our big daisy, and this time we're going to use Pear Pizzazz ink. So we'll ink that up, and all I actually need is that centre bit, so I'm going to sort of stamp it, so all I'm concerned about is that that centre bit is on my card. Everything else is surplus to requirements. And then we're going to take this little 1/2 inch circle and just punch out. Oh, that flew nicely. That centre of that flower just there. So let me pop these to one side for now. We shall need one of the ink pads again in a minute, but we'll carry on with this for now. So let's get our little scalloped circles and find our snips. Now I've got a cup of tea here, so I need to have a bit of a slurp of that. all I'm doing is taking my snips and going round the outside of this flower. Now it's very hard to get them so that that they're all going straight in without overlapping, so you do need to be careful, and I've just curled them round a little bit. And then when you've got all your snips, you're just going to scrunch it up a little bit to make your piece for the centre. And we will tidy that up a bit in a minute. And we come again. And we'll just scrunch that one up. Okay, and then we're going to go back to our bone folder, and this time we're going to curl our daisies upwards. So on our card we had our daisy petals sort of bending outwards a little bit. With this one we've got far more coming in. They look almost like anemones. So these are the two unstamped ones, so they will form the base. And then we've got our two that have stamped, so they have a little bit more detail on them. So they will come on the top. Obviously I haven't stuck those down yet, and when I do we will make sure they're aligned quite nicely. So just curling those round. And then we have our two little purple posy daisies that aren't stamped. And our two that are stamped. So there's obviously quite a little bit of detail that goes into making up all of these flowers. It's not difficult by any means, but it does take a little bit of time to build them all up, hence why I did quite a bit of some I did earlier. But if you're creating a gift for somebody, and obviously these flowers you could make it as big a gift as you want. There is the sample in the catalogue of like a big memo board that they've created. So these are all going to come together sort of like that to create that flower. So let's stick that one together. Let's get our Tombow. And our stamped flowers. And then our unstamped purple posy. 1 layer, two layers, and then here's our stamped versions, which obviously gives a different shade again because it's got that stamping on it. It makes it look a little bit darker. And then we'll put in our first little cup in the middle. Then our second one. And then in the middle we'll put our centre, flower centre. So that's our second flower, and then we've got our little pink one just here, so our little blushing bride flower. So this obviously hasn't got quite so many layers, but we've got again two just punched and two punched and stamped. Just curling those round. So if you fancy having a go at any of these sorts of projects, you fancy having a go with the daisy bundle, and you're living here in the UK, then do pop on to my online shop and pop that in your basket. Obviously, at any point during July, if you put in an order that comes to £45 or more, Stampin' Up are going to give you a voucher for £4.50 off an order in August. So it's the bonus days promotion. It's a promotion that has run for a few years now, and is always quite a popular one. So I think this bundle is, if I remember right off the top of my head, £32.25. I was going to say about £33. That wasn't a bad guess, was it? So £32.25 is the cost of this stamp set and medium die. But then, of course, if you haven't got the bigger medium punch, I should say, if you haven't got the bigger punch, you could pop that into your order, and that would take you over the £45 mark and would get you your £4.50 voucher to spend in August. Right, so with this flower, rather than stamping centres, I'm going to use one of these Perennial Essence floral centres, which are sort of like these little fluffy stick-on flower centres. I think they're just so cute, and they look so realistic because they're not a solid colour, because they do have that sort of hint of green in them as well. They look really pretty. So we have our 3 flowers. I have also already punched out 4 of the sprigs in Pear Pizzazz and 3 leaves in Granny Apple Green. I've also punched out a butterfly in crushed curry, because that fits in quite nicely with that crushed curry in the centre of that daisy. And so the other stamp that I have got in my basket is this beautiful butterfly that comes from the Butterfly Wishes stamp set, and that fits the Butterfly Gala duo punch, this punch just here. So I'm going to stamp a butterfly in Gorgeous Grape onto this vellum. Do that quite carefully so that it doesn't smudge. There we go. And then we will punch that butterfly out. Just like that. Got a little butterfly there, but we don't actually need him on this occasion. Then what I'm going to do is I'm just going to, I think I'm going to use a little glue dot. On the back of this piece of vellum just here, to attach that butterfly to this crushed curry just here. Let's give that a bit of a wiggle to give him some shape, and to cover up the fact that we've got a glue dot under there, I'm actually going to put some little gems down the centre of our butterfly. Okay, this is what I'm looking for. And that will just mask slightly that where that glue dot is sitting underneath, like that. So let's stick these on. So we'll put fairly good blob of Tombow on the back of that flower, and we'll have that one up there, this one down here. Ooh. You could also use a glue gun for this job. And then this little pink daisy just here. And have that. Snuggling in just there. And then we'll put in some of our foliage. In there. And then this one down here. One coming across this way, and this last little one here we'll have coming across this way. And then we'll take our butterfly and I'm going to take this sheet of dimensionals where these edge pieces are. I'm just going to snip a little strip of dimensional that will sit quite nicely in the back of that butterfly just there. We'll have him coming here. And last but not least, I'm going to take some lengths of this ribbon. I'm just going to fold it in half. Like this. I'm going to pop a little glue dot on, did that pick that up? No. On the end there, and wrap that round, and then put another glue dot on the back, and we'll tuck that in so So it comes out there, and then we'll do the same again, another little loop of ribbon. A glue dot to loop them over together, and another glue dot to stick it in there. The end of my scissors just to press that down. So the final thing we want is just to create a loop that you can hang it by. So again, I'm going to create a loop of ribbon. I'm going to turn this over and get some tear and tape. Hello, Annette. How lovely to see you from Canada. Wonderful stuff. It's just as gorgeous, isn't it, this daisy? These daisy punches, and wonderful what you can do with them. So I'm just going to stick a couple of pieces of tear and tape across the back of there just to anchor that down. And then the last thing that I've done is I've cut another label. So this time not from packing card, but from a piece of the gorgeous grape cardstock, and I am just going to put a generous, the wind's blowing, knocking everything over. I'm going to put a generous amount of Tombow on the back of that, because I want that to cover completely across the back here. Yay! Yeah, so they're very easy to make, Annette. So you just want four big daisies, 2 of which are stamped, 4 medium daisies, 2 of which are stamped, and then this is your scalloped circle in the middle here, and that's just the centre of the flower punched out. So there are our 2 big flowers. There's our little flower with its fuzzy little centre. There's our vellum butterfly. So just a lovely little thing to give to, as I say, all days are beautiful that begins with you. So to a friend, or it might be somebody that needs a bit of cheering up. It might be somebody that you want to say thank you to. So there's the one that we've just created. Here's one I made earlier. And here were our little cards that we made using the paper from the In Colour paper collection. So again, good fun, simple little projects. And here's our card that we cased from the catalogue on Monday. So a whole host of daisy loveliness going on there. Ooh, knocking my calendar over. So let's see, what did I do with my stamp set after all of that? So the Daisy Lane stamp set and the medium punch is what you get in the Daisy Lane bundle. But if you were to put in the big punch as well, if you haven't already got that, that would take you over the £45. That would then get you one of those wonderful vouchers that you could spend. I'm just looking how much so £17 the big punch is, so 32, so that would be £49.25. So if you were to have both punches and the Daisy Lane stamp set, that would mean that you would get one of those great vouchers that you could spend next month on something else exciting. But the other thing, of course, you could do is to add these to your starter kit. Hello, Charlotte. Because that's the other promotion that's going on at the moment. You pay £99 for your starter kit, you get £150 worth of goodies. I tell a lie, it's £155 worth of goodies of your choice, plus you then get a voucher the following month for £8 to spend on what you like. So that's another good way of getting your hands on the Daisy Lane bundle. So cards, home decor pieces, whatever it is that you're using it for, It is a really valuable and beautiful little bundle of products. So thank you for joining me this evening from wherever you are in the world, from America, from Canada, from the UK, just up the road or hundreds of miles away. It's lovely to have you with us here on this warm, balmy Thursday evening. And do come back and join me again on Monday when we will be playing with a whole new set of products. So join in, come and join me to find out what they are. Enjoy your weekend and I will see you all soon.